Oh,
These like microphones.
maybe it's because maybe I would.
No, you're fine. It just, even the microphones themselves, I feel like it's just like wider. Yeah.
Okay. The time is 7 PM, so we'll call this meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pulaski.
Here.
Trustee Delapenna.
Here.
Trustee Domke.
Here.
Trustee Forsythe. Here. Trustee Lanisa. Here. Trustee Perkowski.
Here.
Trustee Trejo.
Here. We have a quorum. We'll now move on to presentation of the prepared agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move, David.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Seeing none, that motion carries. We'll now move on to Village Board public comment. Anyone wishing to provide a comment on a topic or an agenda item may address the Village Board during the public comment or public hearing segments of the Village Board agenda by submitting comments in advance or during the meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have any submitted in advance?
One in advance. This is from Sue Lakis and Karen Andrews of 970 West Pine Avenue, Roselle. And regarding a neighborhood watch sign, they would like a neighborhood watch sign installed on the 900 block of West Pine Avenue.
I know the Neighborhood Watch program was discontinued over a decade ago. I think it was a part of the recession cuts, among other things that we were evaluating at the time. Chief Brito, any comments from your end? I know you're T-minus a month into the role, but any thoughts on the Neighborhood Watch program from your side of things? Great, thank you so much. And for those at home, since we didn't have a microphone back there, we're evaluating bringing back the Neighborhood Watch program. So we're currently in the process of hiring a staff position that could assist with that. So more information to come on that. So thank you so much, Chief. Is there any member of the public here tonight that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to officials and staff reports. Under mine, I have the fortunate task of swearing in 2 new police officers. So Justin, if you'd like to join me up at the podium first. We're gonna put it here then, so we can both cheat. So you think I'd have it down by now, but if you raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Justin Betts,
having been appointed to the position of police officer
having been appointed to the position of police officer
in the village of Roselle,
in the village of Roselle,
in the counties of DuPage and Cook,
in the counties of DuPage and Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Welcome.
sir.
Yep.
That's, I would just like to thank the village trustees, the police and fire commission, chief of police, and everybody.
Congratulations.
All right, Kyle, you're up next. You'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Kyle Paul,
having been appointed to the position of police officer
having been appointed to the position of police officer
in the village of Roselle,
in the village of Roselle,
in the counties of DuPage and Cook, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Thank you to all the trustees. I don't see the mayor.
Always exciting when we get to swear new officers, and we've had a lot the last couple of years. So I think that bodes well for our department. We've got a lot of great young talent in our department, and I know the community appreciates your service. So thank you to your family for sharing them with us. And I know you're part of our Roselle family as well, and they'll take good care of you as well throughout your time here. So with that being said, I have nothing else under my report. Is there any other trustees that have a report tonight?
Well, the 4th of July fireworks were great. The 3rd of July, a lot of great comments.
Absolutely.
And the village drone was in flight. Lee got a couple of good pictures of it. Right, chief?
Fantastic. I agree. It was a good event. So perfect weather, and that finale was I was surprised and taken aback by it. So money well spent. So village clerk,
Report.
village attorney,
No report.
village administrator, and slowing us down, but in a good way, our finance director, Tom Dahl, with the presentation of our fiscal year 2022 annual report.
So good evening. I am going to read it all to, oh, wait. Tonight, I'm proud to present the annual comprehensive report for fiscal year 2022 in the agenda packet. The report includes all of the.
And our guests are more than welcome to leave
yeah.
if you want to celebrate this joyous occasion of being sworn into our family, FYI.
You guys don't want to hear the audit?
Or you could stay and listen to this.
Can we leave?
They didn't have to be asked
I
twice.
didn't mean to ruin that for you, but it might have been your largest crowd yet.
I gotta just say something to Tom. This is one of the reasons I don't read War and Peace. Okay, because I can't read this many pages. We'll have the Reader's Digest version out later. this year.
Cliff notes.
All right. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Well, next year, maybe we can have Emily do a really great video recap of the annual audit report. So that can be a stretch assignment for us.
Look how you cleared
Aging
the room.
Municipal
Cleared the room,
information.
Tom. Of course, you'll read it at your leisure too. The report includes all of the financial statements, note disclosures, and required supplementary information that is required, including my MD&A, the management's discussion and analysis, and a letter of transmittal. Jason will review the audit and the process that we went through. And finally, I just wanted to say this report could not be accomplished without the hard work of the finance department, as well as the management team, all the employees, and then your support, the village board. So thank you. And here's Jason.
Well, thank you. Good to be with you. Tom and I are excited about this anyways. We love external financial reporting. Anyway, I'm Jason Coyle. I'm a partner with Baker Tilly. And I do want to kind of react to what Tom said and appreciate the management and everything that they did in helping us through the audit. We know they have a day job, and then we come in and bother them for a couple of weeks and ask for a lot of information on top of everything they do. So really appreciate Tom and his team and all everything that they do to help us get through the audit. So I'm just going to quickly go through a couple highlights of your financial report. It is almost 200 pages long, and I know we're not going to go page by page, but I do always encourage board members, anybody in the governing body to look at the MD&A, the management's discussion analysis, which is near the front of the financial statements. Tom does a great job of putting together a summary of what happened during the year. There's even some nice pie charts in there if you want to look at things in some visual formats of your revenues and expenditures and where your money's coming from and where it's going to. So I would encourage you to at least take the time to read through that. Right before the MD&A is our opinion from Baker Tilly. It's about a 3-page opinion. It's unchanged from the prior year in the sense that it's unmodified opinion, which means in layman's terms that somebody could pick up your financial statements, all 200 pages of them, and rely on the information within those financial statements as they evaluate the financial health and the operations here at the village. So, that's the purpose of our opinion. The rest of the financial information in there obviously is the village's information. Just quickly, I like to always mention a couple portions of the financial statements, the meat and potatoes, and if you will, on page 18 of the paper report or 34 in the PDF is the statement of net position. And this is a statement that you only see once a year when we put it together for the audit. This is where we take all the funds of the village and put them down into 2 columns. And we also add on things that you don't see during your monthly reports. We add in all the capital assets, your buildings, your fire trucks, your police cars, things like that are included within your financial statements, along with all of your long-term debt and other long-term liabilities, again, that you don't see on a monthly basis. Included within those financial statements are some liabilities you don't always think about. Your pension liabilities in particular here in Illinois are often in the news, and you are in 3 pension funds, IMRF, police pension fund, and your fire pension fund. Obviously in 2002, the stock market went in a direction none of us really liked, which is down, which meant your investment earnings in a lot of those were actually in negative position, which increased your liabilities as of the end of the year. So if you were to compare your net pension liabilities at the end of last year compared to the end of this year, you'll see they went up. But that doesn't mean the village isn't appropriately contributing to all these pension plans. In fact, you're exceeding your annual contributions to all of the plans every year. So you're meeting your obligations, even though that stock market fluctuates on an annual basis. Once we get past the statement of net position, we usually do a couple pages later, pages 24 and 25 of the paper and 40 and 41 in the PDF. These are your funds that you're used to seeing on a monthly basis. Your general fund, for example, is in there, which is your corporate fund. You saw an increase of $1.76 million during the year in that fund. And I always like to look at the ratio of your fund balance to your expenditures. I know there's different ways to look at that, but right now you're at 65.7%, which means you could go, 2/3 of the year without receiving any money and within that fund. Not that you'd want to do that, but had it come to that crisis and still be able to operate for 2/3 of the year. So that's one way to look at it. Overall, your governmental funds increased 5.6%, or excuse me, $5.6 million during the year. A couple pages later is your proprietary funds, primarily your water sewer fund and your parking fund. These are funds that are meant to be self-sustaining, where the charges for services are meant to pay for the operations. We saw that happening in the water sewer fund. You saw an increase in your fund balance. You met your operating costs for that year. The parking fund continues to not quite meet the operating costs with the revenue, largely because the commuters still don't continue to go downtown the way they did pre-COVID. So that continues to be, having a slight operating loss during the year. And that's really all I was going to touch on the financial statements. There's a lot more in there, obviously. There's the notes to the financial statements, which have a lot of detail on those pension liabilities that I talked about, along with your bonded debt. And there's additional schedules in the back with all your budget to actual, which get into a lot of detail on all the funds. So, and then in the very back, there's 10-year historical information, which issuing an annual comprehensive financial report. It's a higher level of reporting that you're required to have, and it has great historical financial information in the back, so you can see trend information as to where the village has been and up to the current day over the last 10 years. The only other thing I want to comment on, and this is not in the financial statements, but we also produce another report at the end of the year, which is our communication to management and to the board. In that, if there's any recommendations for improvements in your internal controls, we put it in within that document. I'm happy to say over the years, you've slowly taken those recommendations and been able to implement some change. And this year we got rid of the last recommendation. And so congratulations to Tom and to the board and your support of him and being able to make those changes. And we, this year, I'm happy to say we didn't have any formal recommendations that are included in the letter. So, congratulations on that incremental improvement. And that's the end of my formal remarks, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board? I'll take that as no, and you know, we appreciate the relationship we've had over the past couple of years and whatnot. And Tom, congratulations to you and your team for eliminating those final recommendations. And so, we started off with quite a hefty list, and we made the transition over to Baker Tilly. And so I think it's been a really good learning for us. And I think we've been able to overcome a lot of those. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to be with you. Thanks so much.
All right, we'll move on with our unfinished business. We have the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, and non-controversial in nature, and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items. Tonight, we have presentation and approval of the joint Village Board of Trustees and Planning Zoning Commission meeting minutes of June 22nd, 2023. Presentation and approval of the Village Board minutes of June 26, 2022, and pass an ordinance amending ordinance number 80-949, establishing a pay plan for village officers and employees. Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Is there a second? Madam Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
Trustee Perkowski.
Aye.
That motion carries. We have nothing on our community development, administration, fire, police, or public works, but finance. Trustee Delapenna.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the accounts payable list for July 10th, 2023 in the amount of $1,340,620.77.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
Trustee Perkowski.
Aye. That motion carries. We'll now move on to new business. We'll have Public Works Director Karen Young provide her presentation on our water meter replacement program, as well as our pilot program that we implemented this spring for digital meters.
Good evening.
Smart meters, I guess I should say.
Smart meters, yeah, cellular technology. So in the village, we have about 8,400 customers or water customers. We actually read their or get their data regarding their water usage through water meters. Both the Public Works and Finance Department have been working to audit our water meter age, type, and size of meters throughout the community to further evaluate future options for improving our technology and the type of meters that we're using. So we're here tonight to seek some feedback and direction regarding the proposal we have or things that we're proposing moving forward. In terms of our current technology, we have many meters in town, all basically disc meters. These meters are prone to wear and tear just due to particles that get in with the meters and reduces their accuracy over time. So our current meters have really good accuracy over the first 5 years. And then after that, our accuracy starts to drop off about 15 years. We get on to 90%. One of the downsides to those meters is they only read down to a certain low limit level of 0.25 gallons. So in terms of our current meter reading technology, currently we have what's called radio reads. Our staff has to drive around town with a specialized vehicle, driving all areas of town to collect water meter data. That typically takes about 1 to 2 days. And if we have any special shutdowns or such, our staff also needs to go out there and do that as well by driving around. So, oops, sorry. Excuse me 1 second. I apologize. So, our system, basically, of those meters, we have several meters that are over 20 years old due to the reduced, we replace our meters after 20 years due to the reduced accuracy of those meters. Our past practice has been to spread that out over a period of time. We don't want to have all of our meters replaced necessarily at one period of time because that's a great influx of meters that will be at the same age moving forward. As part of our internal audit, we determined in 2024, we will have over 5,000 meters that are over 20 years old, which is a greater number than we had anticipated. There's several factors for that. One of which is we believe that over time that there was a greater focus on replacing our endpoints, which is what reads the meter data as opposed to the meters themselves. And then since COVID, there's been a lot of challenges with staffing, with access to properties during that time, as well as our ability to actually get meters replaced. So earlier this year, the village implemented a pilot program to test a new technology. The new technology is called cellular reading. that provides the ability for us not to have to drive to all these locations to read the meters. In addition, it also allows property owners to be able to view their actual water usage live as opposed to waiting to get their bill every month. We had 18 test locations included in the pilot program, which included both residential, commercial, and industrial users. And then the IN water application is something I'm going to show you really quick that all property owners had access to during this time. It allows you to see what your water usage is. It allows you to also potentially detect leaks. And one of the cool things that came out of this is we right up from the get-go had 2 users that determined that they had a significant leak at their location and were able to address that, in which they told us essentially they would have never detected that if they had not had this program. All right, so up in front of you is just a couple of screenshots that'll walk you through what this program looks like. It's basically a tool that allows you to use your water more efficiently. If you're someone who's concerned about the amount of water usage that you have the ability to see what you're using on a daily basis, as well as projecting back and forth in time. So this first tab is your at a glance screen. So you can look at, go ahead, Brian, sorry. You can look at the red circle there is showing you, this is the Public Works building that you're looking at. It shows you that over the past week, we've actually decreased our water usage by 9%. Most of that for us is attributed to the fact that we were closed for 4th of July. But you can see that it shows what the change is over time. The middle section shows you exactly how much water you've consumed during the past 7 days compared to what you've used the previous 7 days. And your average daily usage is also shown. The next bar graph to the right shows you even more detail. You can see how much water you've used on any given day, compare it to the same day of the previous week. And the horizontal green line, if you can see it on there, shows your 30-day average usage. The bottom section here shows you basically your water usage over a period of time. You can go through and select it for a week, a month, a year. And a couple of things you'll notice on here. So for Public Works, it runs on Sunday. And the first time I saw this, I'm like, why are we having so much water usage on a Sunday? Well, our irrigation system is set for a Sunday to run. So that's why we have water usage. But on a Tuesday of that week being 4th of July, we had no one at Public Works that day because we were closed and our irrigation system didn't run. So you'll see that we have no usage during that time. The next little square at the bottom is about your meter. Basically, it's telling you that your meter is read in gallons. It tells you when your meter was last read and when it's scheduled to be read again. And the last section up at the left is the leak detection portion. The users have the ability to go on and set the parameters in which they want to understand their usage. It doesn't necessarily even need to be leaks. It could just be, I want to know if I'm using over a certain amount of gallons per day and notify you. You may have college students home showering. Who knows what the case is that you want to look at, but you have that opportunity to do that. And then as well in there, you're able to set up notifications by email, text, whatever your options that you would like to do for that. So that's a quick summary of the portal that's available to the public and that we've been monitoring as part of this pilot program. So moving forward, we have some modifications that we'd like to see with our program. One of them is the type of water meters. We would actually like to introduce a new technology of water meters. It's called ultrasonic technology. It has a built-in register. It has greater low flow capability, but most importantly, it has a 20-year accuracy warranty on it at 98.5%. So it's not going to have that significant drop off over time that we've been seeing. And also reads down to 0.1 gallons. As part of this, we would also like to continue rolling out the cellular technology and continue the pilot program or just continue implementing this program over time to to allow our customers have, better insight as to what they're doing as a, from a customer standpoint. Many times I know the finance department gets many questions about their water usage. And when you get your bill, you've already sometimes had a month of where things could have been happening, which could be prevented as part of this program. In terms of implementation and rolling out a program such like this, we looked at several options. Going with 100% replacement at one time, rolling it out over a period of years, or providing us an opportunity to evaluate it. Obviously, doing 100% change out is very costly. It's about $2.9 million and would be utilizing a contractor to install all of those meters. And at this point, I don't think we're recommending that. The second was looking at a 20-year, breaking the town up into 20 years or 20% over 5 years. That would be just under $100 or $1 million for each of those 5 years. And as part of all of that, there would be a service credit increase because going to cellular technology is a little more expensive and would have an annual cost of about $75,000. And lastly, what we are recommending is continuing a pilot program and allow us to basically in January install the remainder of the meters that we're getting for 23 and our proposed meter purchase for 24, utilizing our staff, which would allow us the opportunity to see how long it would take us to install this new technology because it is different than our typical water meter installation, determine how many that we can get done in that time frame, and then present back to the board some options moving forward for a rollout of a complete replacement program and what that cost and timeline could look like. So I know that's a lot of information. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Just one clarifying question from me. I know before I roll up, I know you talked about how the meters, the accuracy does decrease over time with what we currently have. When we say the meters accuracy is going down, does that mean they're reading less water than is flowing through or more water that's going through?
Less water.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Wayne?
How do you install these? How do you install them?
Sure.
In the house and take the other meter out?
Correct. And we currently, when we do a meter replacement, that is what we do is we go into homes. It would be going into homes and replacing not just the meter itself, it's the meter and the endpoint and the register. What we've seen over times is there's partial things replaced, and we would like to holistically be into one residence at one time, replacing the complete system. So yes, we would make appointments, have appointments set up with the residents to do
And
that.
if there was any pipe damage from what you did, you'd have to replace the pipes. I mean,
Well, we're responsible between basically, it's shortly on either side of the meter, and that's typically what we do. Sometimes people have some additional work that they need to have done, but it's pretty often that we're able just to get in there and complete that work without any.
another thing too, just so obviously the residents can check their own water usage, which is kind of great.
With this, correct, yeah.
But I still also want to keep you in the mix when you see some water usage that goes exponential, that you would still continue to tell the residents, because you've saved a couple of my neighbors already by doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they didn't see it on their monitor that you'd be their backup.
Yeah, and I know Lori and the finance department currently do that now. The downside to it now is they get it once a month. The
Right, I
upside,
understand, but that's
the
better
upside
than
to-
nothing.
yeah, but the upside to this, so yes, we would still, for any meter that are in place that are not the cellular technology, we would still be doing that same process. And Tom, if he wants to speak any more to it, he can. But then with the cellular, it'll do two things. It'll let the property owner be their own advocate, but it'll also provide us that information. So we would also see if there was something kind of crazy going on.
Good, good, thank you.
Other questions or comments from the board? Yeah, sure.
So this information will only be to the residents that have cell service. put in.
Correct. And our goal would be to implement everybody over a period of time to get to that point.
Is this only an app?
No, you can go from a desktop version, you can go from a phone. So you can go onto any computer and do it. And you can also go on any cell phone, tablet to sign up for it.
Other questions from the board or comments? Everyone comfortable moving forward with staff's recommendation then?
Yes.
All right.
I guess the only thing that I would add is, and I apologize, I didn't put this in here, due to the lead time for the 24 purchases, we are recommending placing those orders in 23 as well.
Big surprise, long lead times, right? So is the board comfortable with us placing that order now, knowing we won't take delivery for a while? All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's exciting. Moving on to our other topic, we have our community development manager, Karen, presenting on our contract for health inspections and review for Cook County businesses.
Double shot of Karen's tonight. So for the past probably 20 to 30 years, we've used a individual contracted employee to provide health inspection services and plan reviews for the Cook County portion of the village. So all businesses, daycares and schools that require health inspections located in Cook County have been completed by this individual. He is on the track to retirement. So we've kind of been exploring options because the Cook County portion of our overall number of businesses is small, and DuPage County handles everything within DuPage County. So we have reached out to various contractual services to kind of explore what the options are. And we were introduced to health inspection professionals through another municipality, Cook County municipality, who uses this company. It's owned by Lynn Huet, and she has 3 part-time employees, and they conduct all these plan reviews and inspections for a lot of North Shore Cook County municipalities. So I was able to provide her all of the businesses in Cook County and Roselle that require these inspections. And she was able to provide an estimate of about $5,000 a year, and we would just be billed on her actual costs. This is a little bit more expensive than what we're paying the current person, but it provides us with greater flexibility because she's more than just one person, and she has a whole team of knowledgeable and registered sanitarians. So if the board concurs, we can move forward with a contract at the next board meeting.
And did we reach out to other neighboring municipalities to see if we could do an intergovernmental agreement before seeking this route?
Yes, we did. So I had reached out to Schaumburg, and we had some really good discussions with them. But just from their own staffing standpoint, they were fully staffed, and then they lost an inspector, so they weren't able to move forward.
Any questions from the board about the proposal?
Just about the budget, we budgeted, said 5,000. Does that cover both Cook County and the DuPage County part of inspections?
No, so we don't pay the DuPage County
Oh.
inspections. The business owners pay them.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Consensus to move forward as staff is advised?
Yes. That's
There
good.
we go. Thank you so much. We do have a second opportunity for public comment tonight. Is there anyone here tonight that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, we do not have any executive session tonight. Other business, I'd just like to reiterate, I know we've been pushing out, but we have our third community forum on infrastructure and how do we fund it. So join us right here Tuesday, July 18th for a riveting conversation on the developments coming forward in the future. So I know staff has put a lot of effort and the board has provided a lot of direction on this next presentation. So I think it should be really eye-opening and hopefully start a conversation in the community. And if you can't make it, we'll see you at Coffee with the Board August 5th so we can discuss it in a more casual setting. So other than that, does anyone else have other business? Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? The meeting